Jeremy Corbyn supports scrapping Trident. Owen Smith supports talks with so-called Islamic State. Why should I take either of you seriously on security?
OK, one of you wants to scrap Trident, one wants to have talks around the table with Islamic State. Why should I take either of you seriously on security? Who wants to go on this first?
I'm
Owen
happy
Smith.
to. I didn't say we should have talks with Islamic State. I absolutely didn't say that. What I said was that the chances were we'd never be able to negotiate with Islamic State, that they are a death cult. And
at some point for us to resolve this, we will need to get people round the table on ISIS.
And I answered two. But you haven't read the first part of my answer, in which I said that we wouldn't be negotiating with IS. In the second part of my answer, having been interrupted by the presenter, I went on to say that in my experience as someone who worked on the peace process in Northern Ireland for 3 years, all peace processes eventually are dealt with by all parties coming together, but only, of course, once all parties have renounced violence and sued for peace and sought to be part of the peace process. Now, the chances are, everybody can see, ISIS are never going to fall into that category, are they? They're never going to want to sue for peace. And the chances are, therefore, they will need to be defeated militarily before there can be peace. But if ISIS were, whatever ISIS is in many regards, if ISIS were to renounce violence, then of course you would want to make sure that there was a peace process in the Middle East dealing with that. We should all want that. But it was a slight misrepresentation of what I said.
Do you agree with his position?
I've always said I wouldn't negotiate with ISIS. What I want to see is a political solution in Syria, which means involving all the countries in the region and the urgent negotiation of a rapid ceasefire to get aid in, an urgent negotiation to support and help the refugees, and a comprehensive plan to bring about peace across the whole region.
So to part one of Mr Murtaugh's question, Jeremy Corbyn wants to scrap Trident. Why should you be taken seriously on security?
Parliament voted effectively a blank cheque for the government on the replacement of the Trident nuclear weapons system and the submarines that go with it. I ask the question back, under what circumstances would anyone use a nuclear weapon? We know that if a nuclear weapon was ever used anywhere in the world, the consequences to the environment, the economy and to human life are absolutely catastrophic. There are many in the military that do not want Trident replaced, would rather see those resources spent on more conventional issues and dealing with issues of terrorism, dealing with issues of cyber security. 187 countries around the world do not have nuclear weapons. We are signatories of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and I think we should adhere to our requirements under that, which is to take steps towards disarmament. I do not believe that the development of a new nuclear weapon system is that.
You have a crazed dictator in the Far East, which is currently strengthening his nuclear deterrent. And we all, the Chinese thought that he was going to weaken in a couple of years. Clearly, they were wrong. And now, also we've got this situation in Russia as well. I mean, like, you can't play games with this, Jeremy, man. It's like, think about it.
Nobody's playing games. We all actually we're serious about this, and I'm sure you are also, to bring about a peaceful world. Do nuclear weapons help to do that or not? Can we not put as much pressure as possible on China and the others to the six-party negotiations about North Korea to try and bring about a denuclearisation of the Korean Peninsula in the same way that we've managed to bring about nuclear weapons-free zones in a number of areas of the world, including Central Asia, including Africa, including Latin America, and now the discussions about an Arctic nuclear-free zone. Surely there has to be a place to go forward on bringing about nuclear disarmament. We've managed to ban chemical weapons by agreement. We've managed to ban cluster bombs by agreement. Surely we could work really hard at that by really giving meaning to what the Labour government of the 60s achieved, which was the nuclear non-proliferation treaty.